Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. What happens when you release a Star Wars movie? Some will love it, some will hate it, some will be in between, and some will just abandon the franchise altogether. I personally can't abandon this franchise since I am a huge fan of this series and I can't ever let it go, no matter what happens. Sure, George Lucas, the goddamn creator of the series, decided to make some questionable decisions, but he's not even to blame for one of the biggest mistakes in the franchise's history. What mistake was that, you might ask? Well, we're going to talk about it today as we review Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Let's get straight to the point. The Last Jedi begins immediately after the events of The Force Awakens, set 30 years after the conclusion of the original Star Wars trilogy, but you guys already knew that. It continues the story of Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, and her discovery of the exiled Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, played by Mark Hamill, along with the story of war between General Leia Organa's resistance and the First Order. Okay, I'm going to cut straight to the point right now. This is the worst film in the series. I'm going to do my usual shtick, but I will later get to my 6 major problems with the film on stuff I didn't talk about. How are the characters? Well, for one, they are completely different than in the last film. Rey, a character I had previously had fun with, has been reduced to a boring character. She now has no flaws at all, which is the subject of bad writing. They also made a BS excuse for her lineage, which thankfully got resolved in the next film, but I was completely pissed off, and so were other Star Wars fans. And I'll address that later. Thankfully, Daisy Ridley does a good performance in what she was given. Finn was also completely ruined in this film. How so? Another character called Rose, a ridiculous side character, and a ridiculous side plot, which I'll discuss later. How about Poe? Again, he's shoved completely out of the way for more bad writing. But my biggest thing I have to say about all of these characters is that the actors do a good job. But I haven't even got to the meat of them yet. Let's talk about Kylo Ren. He's still the best character in the trilogy. Adam Driver's really committed to this performance, and he is still the most fleshed out character. I'll talk about the utilization of the older characters and Snoke later. Let's talk about some new ones. Rose. Holy crap. I hate this character. She's there for boring social messages, and she's totally useless! Thankfully, Kelly Marie Tran, the actress, does a good job, but her character feels like she was shoved in at the last minute. She's not even the worst character in the film. That goes to Vice Admiral Amelin Holdo. Sorry if I butchered your first name. Not really. She, to me, was just very pointless. And a character that could have been shoved to the side. And like Rose, she's only there for social messages. Oh my god! Thankfully, she dies, but I can't really stand watching her on screen. Okay, how are the visuals? Well, they are great for the most part. Some of the CGI looks kind of dated, though. And that's something considering Industrial Light and Magic usually doesn't fail with their visuals. The music is thankfully great. As I said before, John Williams never fails at a score. I feel like he tried hard, really, really hard, to make a score that accompanies a movie like this. And the action scenes are great too. My favorite action scene is the battle in the throne room with Rey and Kylo Ren. That scene was awesome. Also, I like the climax, except for one part that I'll address very soon. Okay, here come my 6 biggest problems with this film. Number 6, Rey's lineage. If her lineage hadn't been fixed by JJ in the next film, then I would have put it higher on the list. But lo and behold, he fixed it. What else can I say? The Force Awakens set up so much good stuff for Rey that all of us had great speculation towards. And then Rian Johnson just gave us the finger and said that she was a nobody to copy Luke's lineage revealed in The Empire Strikes Back. That's a good idea on paper, but why kill something that was set up so perfectly in the last film? That's just going to piss the fans off. Number 5, Snoke. In the previous film, Snoke was a mystery, and many Star Wars fans had speculations. Some said he was Plagueis, though I don't buy it because Plagueis would be much older than Snoke. And even though he looks really old, still. And some said that he was Mace Windu. I was one of those people. So, what did Rian Johnson do with a great character? He killed him. Yep, he gave us the finger again and just killed him off, which made no sense because he's supposed to be the emperor in this franchise. The positive things I can say about him is that Andy Serkis does a great job playing a dark side user. The CGI is good, and his death looked cool. That doesn't make it good, it just looked cool. But yeah, Disney really should apologize for this treating of the fans. Number 4, the main story. Good God, I feel like this story went on for way too damn much time. Sure, The Empire Strikes Back had a chase story, but it was constantly moving and it was interesting. This feels like it was trying to get to the end credits ASAP, which is not good for a Star Wars movie. Every Star Wars movie before this one had a constantly moving story, and you didn't feel fatigued while watching it. Both times I saw this in theaters, I was bored out of my mind, and I just wanted to see the cool stuff. Number 3, the utilization of Leia. The positive thing I will say about Leia is that Carrie Fisher does a good job. But she's only in the film for 15 to 20 minutes. She was in the last film, but that was only meant to accompany the new story and new characters, which is understandable. But here she's supposed to be like a mentor character, like Obi-Wan or Yoda. But nope, she was just shoved off to the side and has no potential whatsoever. Number 2, Luke Skywalker. Performance-wise, Mark Hamill did a fantastic job playing the character, and considering he disagreed with everything, and I do mean everything that was written for him, I'm honestly proud of him. Playing a character for 40 years only to learn that he was botched up for a film is a great sign of acting. But as a character, Luke really failed. Firstly, he tries to kill his own nephew. What the hell? Weren't you the same person that tried to help Darth Vader? How could you just turn to the dark side like this? Also, that throwdown he has with Kylo Ren was just lame. He only just danced around him instead of making an epic clash. Why? Because they wanted to kill him off. Come on, guys, how could you do this? Now I'm craving Luke even more than the Mandalorian because you really screwed him up. But at least he isn't the worst problem with this film. That goes to number 1, the useless characters and pointless scenes. No, I'm not going to talk about the cave scene, despite how ridiculous it is. I already addressed the 2 useless characters that are a big part of the story, but Benicio del Toro's character was so desperate to be seen that I just don't even care anymore. But then again, he's only in the movie for like 7 minutes, so that's okay, I guess. But the real pointless thing in this film is that damn casino scene! I saw this film twice in theaters and many times at home, and each time I hate this scene even more. It's boring, ridiculous, and completely terrible. I'd rather watch Anakin Skywalker hating on sand for 20 minutes than watch this scene. I'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in my ear. I'd rather eat the rotten butthole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer than watch this scene. I just referenced Angry Video Game Nerd, and I don't even care anymore. I hate this scene! Okay, I'm calm now. My final verdict is very different than usual. There are too many goddamn problems in The Last Jedi that I can't list again. But the visuals are pretty good, the music is great, and the action is fantastic for the most part. That's exactly why I have 2 scores for this film. I only do this a few times, don't worry. As a movie, I give it a 4 out of 10. And as a Star Wars fan, I give it a 9 out of 10. The reason why I gave it a 9 out of 10 as a Star Wars fan is because it had a lot of potential, and I just wanted to focus on the good stuff. But yes, this is the worst Star Wars film, but not the worst film I've ever seen. Whew. Man, that took a lot out of me. That's it for this review, guys. If you have any similar thoughts, feel free to leave yours in the comments below. And tune in next week for my review of Captain America the Winter Soldier, which is coincidentally going to come out one day before The Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out on Disney+. With all that said, I'm Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and that, my friends, is a wrap. See you guys next week.